Hello, my name is Ed Frawley. This video is about detection dog training, both civilian dog sport, the scent work sports, and to some extent, some police canine handlers that are influenced by these YouTube or social media pundits that produce these videos that show their dogs doing a 5 or a 10-foot search and finding an odor source, and then doing a passive indication where a dog will locate odor, sit, stare, and lock onto the odor, and nothing in the world counts to that dog other than it sitting there staring at where it thinks the odor is. People can walk by, they can pick the butt of the dog up, another animal can walk by, and that dog will still focus on the odor. The problem that I'm going to talk about is that these people, these social media pundits, will tell new dog trainers that the way to train a detector dog is to first train your dog to do a passive indication on the odor source first before it does anything else. And these people are dead wrong. Now, this isn't my first rodeo. I did my first narcotics training video in 1985, 1986. I worked with a canine on our local sheriff's department, and for 10 years I worked with a drug task force, West Central Drug Task Force in western Wisconsin. I got a lot of experience on real world searches. I went into the federal archives and I found a court case that I testified in 1995. So what is that, 30 years ago, on exactly what I'm talking about right now. And that is, my dog Gabby found cocaine on the interstate, and it was quite a bit of cocaine, and the suspects were taken through federal court, found guilty. But this scenario in the federal archives talked about my testimony for indications. And that is, when these dogs, when you start a dog in detection work, your foundation needs to be in searching. And in your training, the dog needs to learn how to get into an odor cone. The dog needs to search to find the odor cone. He needs to follow an odor cone to source. He needs to learn that it's okay for the handler to get involved in the search by moving items out of the way so the dog can get closer and closer to the source. Or, for example, out on the interstate, one time Gabby hit on the back of a car where there was a bunch of cocaine in the car. We opened up the trunk. The trunk had a bunch of bicycles in it. We put the bicycles over on the road. She got in, jumped around, didn't do any indications on in, and it was on inside the trunk. So I put her inside the car and didn't do any indications. And then I thought, wait a minute. We went over and searched those bicycles, and the inner tubes on the bicycles were packed with cocaine. So you have to train, and this is just one little part of a large program. You have to train your dog that you can be part of the searching. You can take your dog out and you can put him into a double-blind search, and you can encourage the dog to search. You can go and help move things out of the way. Even though you know there's nothing there, you can get it out of the way so the dog can get in there and search, and you praise him, tell him he's a good dog, and he goes over here and you praise him and tell him he's a good dog. You don't throw a tennis ball, you don't throw a Kong, you don't do anything like that, but you can praise your dog if you have a good relationship with your dog. And if you've done things correctly, like for example, have a protocol at the beginning of your search, where every time I take my dog out to do a search, I set it up the same way. I tell the dog to sit, he knows exactly what it is. I'm telling him you're going to do a search. And when you do that 100 times or 150 times or 200 times, that gets the dog ramped up. That gets the dog's dopamine flowing. It's like a hunting dog flushing birds. When that dog goes out and you set him out and you get the gun out and you get your whistle out and you get him out and you send him off, that dopamine's going crazy in the dog. We can do the same thing with our detector dogs, exactly the same thing. And then they search with vigor. They search because they love the search. They love the possibility that we use their flushing drive even when they're finding odor. Their hunt drive, their flushing drive, we use it all. So, why is it so bad? People that produce these videos tell new dog trainers that if you want to train a detector dog for civilian sport work, or if you want to train a detector dog for law enforcement, you need to train the passive indication the way we're training the passive indication first, and then go on from there. And dogs that are trained like that, when they go out into an operational or a competition, they fail every time. Here's a perfect example. My best friend, one of my best friends, Kevin Shaldaw. Kevin Shaldaw, who we have a seminar here in a few weeks on detector dog work here at Leerburg, probably is one of the finest and best narcotics dog instructors in the United States. He runs 6-week training courses for police handlers only, and right now he's doing his 71st 6-week course. He's a retired canine handler. Last weekend at the American Schutzen Championships, one of the options in these championships is the dog can do an area search for either an article or a scent object. Kevin was the judge for the scent work for the nationals. He failed every dog except 2. Well, they're doing it the way they see these pundits do in YouTube or in Facebook, and they believe them, and that's how they start their training. And why is that bad? And the reason is this: if you teach a dog that his primary foundation is on finding odors and doing an indication, and then you take that dog out into a working environment where it's in a double-blind situation. And a double-blind search means somebody else comes into the training session, hides the dope or the scent, and then leaves. And then the handler wasn't there. He comes in with his dog. He has no idea where it is. And that dog then is in a double-blind search, and he doesn't know where it's at, and he's having a problem. He will go back to his foundation, which is, he never does a search where it's not hidden. So they'll search and search and search. And if they miss it, throughout this whole time, the handler's nervous. Don't kid yourself. Dogs are experts at reading our body language. If they could play poker, we'd never win. They know when the handler's nervous. And handlers that have not done double-blind searches get nervous. So he's getting nervous. So what does he do? He fakes it and sits down. He false indicates. Let me talk about why the foundation is so important. And I'm going to use an example of back in 1993, I went up to Canada to the RCMP Police Dog School. I went there twice back then. That school started in 1935. Hands down, the RCMP are the best tracking instructors in the North America. Their school is 20 weeks long. I was there one time, the first time, and there was an officer there who was on his second dog. His first dog had passed. Told me that his dog tracked 3 suspects 14 miles through the woods. Tell me search and rescue dog here in the United States that can do that. But up there, they have level 1, level 2, and level 3 for training. Now I'm getting to something here that you have to stick with me when I'm talking about the foundation for training. And this is an example. I already told you the foundation for detector dog work is searching. The foundation for search and rescue work is tracking. RCMP and level 1, their dogs have to do 55 to 60 tracks to pass level 1, and they have to test out a level 1 before they can move into level 2. It's in level 2 that they start to learn how to do area search. What's an area search? That's what 99.99% of the American search and rescue people do. That's where they get downwind of where they think a suspect is hiding or someone is lost. They get downwind and they work into the wind, and the dogs run around like bird dogs with their nose up in the air trying to catch the scent. Nothing wrong with that, but that's their go-to method when they have a problem. They get their nose up in the air and they look around. Tracking dogs that have gone through level 1 have done 55, 60 tracks. Those dogs, when they lose the track, their default behavior is not to stick their nose up in the ground and try and catch the scent of where that track is. No, those dogs, their foundation is tracking. They drop their nose to the ground and they start circling, looking for where the track is. And you ask yourself, well, if they're such good trackers, why the hell are they losing tracks? Well, they lose tracks because they do it at a dead run. And when they're doing it at a dead run with the wind behind them, because it doesn't matter on a tracking dog which way the wind is blowing, It's a little harder, but it still doesn't matter. With the wind behind them and they're running, they'll run right past the corner. And the handlers know their dogs well enough that when the dog loses a track, his nose comes up off the ground, and then they start to circle, and when they circle, that dog has his nose on the ground until he cuts that track, and off they go again over here. My point there is those tracking dogs, their foundation is to keep their nose on the ground and look for odor. The foundation for a detection dog must be to search, not to false indicate, not to do a passive indication. A passive indication is just an exercise that we add to training to teach the dog later on. So that's the importance of what I'm trying to talk to you about here. Don't go on YouTube and don't look at these people that have these fancy videos of their dogs doing these little 5 or 10 foot searches. Don't kid yourself that dog, before the cameras were even turned on, that dog was showing where the odor source was. That dog had done that search 10 times or 5 times or 20 times. But when the cameras go on, you think, because these trainers tell you, oh, watch my dog do this beautiful little search, and the dog goes boom, boom, up and down, up and down. Oh, there it is, bam, locks into it. It's a scam. They set it up because they want to sell training, or they want to prove how good they are, and really what they're doing is they're misleading people. And it's kind of a joke. It really is kind of a joke. In closing this out, if you're a new trainer and you want to learn the right way how to train detector dogs, I would recommend you go into our online courses and sign up for Kevin's course that I helped him do a couple of years ago. It's got 300 short videos in it. There's 19 different modules, and each module has different segments inside the module. And it's a total of 8 hours of filming with a lot of written content that goes with it. It's not a cheap course, but I will guarantee you it's the best way, the right way, to learn how to train detector dogs. There's just no question about it. You can't argue the experience that we've had over the last 35, 40 years. And I wish I would have had this information when I started doing it back in 1985. So you're able to catch up on a lot of years of experience here if you want to learn how to do it correctly.